taking over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible. Hanging out. The bad seed, the broken name, the bad apple with a bad attitude. Hey, look who it is. I'm hanging out with Carver High, the guru himself of golf, the tater, and you know what else he does. Tutty King, Prop King. He's got it all. Fashionista with his drip. It's another Bills Monday Nighter, so you know he's coming on board. Styling on the red carpet. We're in New York City. I just got back from Pittsburgh, and I landed, and I went, people dressed in plastic bags, directed traffic, some kind of fat and shake it up, shadooba. And Pittsburgh was great, Carver High, I have to tell you. Mafia running it with Luke, I am your father. But I got back today. It was very stressful. I had to be on time, can't be late, got no weather, can't have any incidents. Made it home, got off the plane, had to drop my buddy off at some car dealer, some Cadillac dealer. Then I drove home, got home. Then I started doing errands, running, laundry, taking the bags apart, everything else. Crazy weekend, though. When I went to the Steeler game in Pittsburgh, it was the proverbial 87, feels like 97 with the heat index. You know, when the weather lady says, well, it's sure hot outside. It's 87, but I got to tell you, it's more like 102, depending on where you live. All I know is I went to the game. Everything was fine. Some guy drove us there in his Tesla Uber. He goes, I know who you are. I said, I'm nobody. I'm hungover, and I have cotton mouth. Leave me alone. He goes, I know who you are. And I went, I am nobody. I have cotton mouth. Leave me alone. I am cool. I'm a nice guy, but I need to roll your window down. I may hurl. I had 50 rum and cokes last night. And he's like, we're going to get you there. Everything's going to be all right. I said, I need to go to Tom's and have a hair of the dog immediately because I do not feel well. So then we went and had drinks, and I went to the stadium. I sat in my seat, and the sun was blazing down on me. I did the Ferrall on the Bench podcast today describing it. I was like, Moses in the desert. I had no water. I had no shoes. I had no salmon. I had no lake. I had nothing. I was baking. My lips were charred. I was dripping like Fred Flintstone. I literally was spraying rum out of my body. The woman behind me filled up a glass and said, it still tastes good. I'm drinking off of your body right now, the remaining rum. I was soaked. It was so hot. I got a terrible towel. I sat there in the sun, and I watched the Steelers kick the Chargers' ass. I saw the touchdown to Austin running right at me. It was unbelievable. The way Fields started the game, the way Orange Sherbert started the game, 10 for 10, 9 for 9. They both had a tutty, one passing, one running. And, the proverbial Fields ran by everyone untouched. You know what he yelled at Bosa, right? Your mama's a hoe. That's the favorite line when you get untouched going into the end zone. Same thing with Austin, right up the gut. Your mama's a hoe. And then you score, dominate. Fields puts up big numbers. Steelers 3-0 on top of the North. And I got home, and I'm on the air without fail. Shake out, ooh, shake out, ooh.
Yeah, happy Monday. Welcome back. Welcome home. You made it home in one piece, which is always good to see. And, yes, I was watching yesterday. And I did think, because I don't know which end zone you're in. I'm not sure on which side you're on.
I'm in the closed end zone, not the river. I'm at the other end.
So you're in the closed. Now I'll know that going forward. But when the Austin house call came up there, I was saying, I hope that's on your side of the field, that Austin house call. Because that was the most explosive offensive play the Steelers have had all year. They're 3-0, and they haven't had a lot of really big explosive offensive plays. But the Austin one was unbelievable.
And they don't make plays like that. The last time we saw that, we had guys like A.B., Holmes, Roethlisberger. You've had none of that with the slew of bad quarterback play they've had. Let's face facts. Kenny touchdown sucked. Russell Wilson, he's had a bad calf. He reminds me of Giancarlo Stanton. He never plays. He's like, he gets traded. He's like, oh, my calf. But I got to start my charity with my wife and sign my new PR deals and I'm going to be on the red carpet with my new documentary, but I'm just limping so badly. As the other guy has taken his job, he's taken the city. Everyone there loves Fields now. They want him to play. They don't want Wilson unless they have to use him. And the Steelers are the defense, 10 points, 6 points, and 10 points in 3 games. 5 sacks. Every guy on the team makes tackles. And I mean, solo, tackles for loss, sacks. Like I said, 5 yesterday. Everybody had one. Watt had one. He should have had 1.5 because he and Hayward wrapped up the quarterback together and got a sack. They didn't give it to him. So all I know is the Steelers mean business, and they got a team, and they got a defense, and they got a quarterback that breaks ankles, and he's throwing for 250. He's throwing, what do you have? 7 incomplete passes, and their running game. Did you see Patterson? The guy had huge runs. One of them was 14 yards. And, when he did it was FU time, game over time. We get a first down. It's you're not getting the ball back. This game's over. FU time, money time. And I think your boy, is fantastic in the role that he has. And Najee is their big load carrier. And he catches passes. I was impressed. The only thing I hated was how hot it was. And I was literally, you would have thought I jumped in the Allegheny River, and no one else was sweating like me. And I said to the guy next to me, I said, I just want you to know that I've had at least 50 rums last night. And I think this is rum coming out of me in this heat. I can't take it. I'm going to have a stroke. I may die right here sitting next to you. And the guy was like, I'm sweating too, man. And it was fun. It's a rowdy section. I love it. I'm going back for games. I'm going to at least 2 more. But it was fun to be there. And to see the great start by Herbert and Fields, that hasn't happened since 91. And both of them are really good. But I think the Chargers have this great running game and great offensive line. But the Steelers were better in all facets yesterday.
They certainly were. What a job by the Steelers, who are 3-0 when in first place in the AFC North, one of the last remaining undefeated teams. And just remember, they got no shot this year. Remember that. We said that before the season, or everybody said it, and they got no shot this year.
The Niners and Chiefs, it's booking.
And look, Russ it's unfortunate for Russ. Obviously, it was, injuries happen, but Russ is finished now. You can't take the job away from that guy. Like he's 3-0. They're going to Indy this week. That's another game that they can maybe get a handle on and go to 4-0. Like Fields is going to be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Russ probably isn't happy, but what are you going to do? Tomlin was willing to start him, but he was hurt. Tomlin can't go back now, and you know that. You heard everybody in that city for the last 48 hours say it. They love Fields, and they want him to be the quarterback going forward. So we'll talk about that.
Do you remember when they won 11 games and they started 11-0 and then they effed that up nice and juicy like a Baconator?
They did.
They cannot screw this season up. They need to win games. They need to win that division. And they have notoriously given Lamar Jackson fits and the Ravens fits. And they've had their problems with the Bengals and the Browns more than the Ravens. Yeah. So if they can play consistent football like they are right now, they are a tough commodity. You play them, you're getting hit. You run, you're getting hit. Yeah. You pass, you get lit up. And they can score now, and that brother can play. Fields, he's not the greatest quarterback I ever saw, but he's damn good.
He sure is. So we'll go through all the NFL from yesterday, of course. Once again, lots of upsets all over the place. Outright dogs winning left, right, and center. You did have the Chiefs. The G-Men won outright. Denver won outright. You had a lot of outright dogs yesterday going through and getting the job done. We have 2 games tonight that we have to talk about, including the Bills at home for the Jaguars. Bengals, who are also 0-2, have Washington coming in. We'll talk about both of those games. We have all the college from the weekend. What a win for Michigan at home against USC, running the ball all day long against the Trojans, hanging on at the end, getting a late touchdown to take the lead.
Sick.
It made us all sick.
That made me sick. I really don't like them.
Final week of the baseball season. Still a lot to be decided in terms of wild cards. Tigers now tied with everybody there for those last 2 wild card spots in the AL.
Let's get the Tigers in the playoffs.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
So you can catch Morency on Sports Rage every night at 10 East, and it's badass. It's on everything, all of our streaming networks, TV stations. I can't keep track of it. Radio outlets like SiriusXM Channel 159, but more importantly, he's on coast to coast every day for a double shot. They took him away from me on Sundays. He's doing Sunday nights now at 8 o'clock. He may have been behind it. I don't know. But I don't think he'd do that to me. 30 years we've been drinking together and causing trouble together and gambling together and chasing women together. Are we on the air? We are. And I don't think Morency would do that. Not only that, we swap gifts all the time. I try to send him things that help him with smoking necessities. He sends me clothes that don't fit him, that he buys when he's drunk at games that are for a man 3 times his size. And that's what I am, 3 times his size. Morency, I have to give you credit. Michigan got it done. I watched the game. I couldn't believe it. It was a great game. And I thought USC in the second half, tale of 2 cities, right? I thought they played great in the second half. I thought they had it, but Michigan wanted it more. They just played harder and got it done.
Michigan nearly gave it away. A big turning point of the game is it was 20-10. They came up with a big stop. I guess it was probably late in the third quarter. They came up with a big stop on 4th down, USC. They created the turnover. I think it was on 3rd down or 4th down. USC were going for it. Michigan recovered the fumble. They knocked the ball loose. They recover the fumble, and the big defensive lineman starts rumbling down the field. And Marks, the running back on USC, caught up to him and just took the ball back from him.
Oh, God. I
literally just... Yeah, he caught up to him and literally just like
and first down.
Just went right next to him, just took the ball, and suddenly it was USC ball again. And then they scored a touchdown on like 2 plays later. And it was like, whoa. And then USC took the late lead. Listen, it wasn't pretty. It was old school Bo Schembechler Michigan football, Scott. And are they going to be able to dodge bullets all season long like this? I don't think so. Right? But it's 1 week at a time. They dug down deep. They found a way. Most times, guys, when there's like 2 minutes left in a football game and you need a touchdown, you're throwing the football, right? And Michigan just cannot throw the football. Right. So there was talk, all right, do you bring Warren in for this last drive because Orji everything is just a dump off. He threw for 32 yards, Scott, and I was like, you know what? I know what they're thinking. They're just going to keep on. They're going to go with like their 3-4 best run plays here, and they're just going to pray that they pop one. And Mullings did. Beautiful, like, dude, the spin move to get out of it. And he pops it. And then they scored. And people forget it was 4th and goal. They went for it. It was the last play of the game. So they survived, Scott. They get Minnesota this week, winnable football game. It's going to be tough to dodge bullets like this all year. They're going to have to figure something out with the passing attack. But we're seeing in the NFL right now, too, dude, that running is back. Like, everything is coming full circle right now. And I've been warning people about this. Coach Flores with the Vikings, the defensive coordinator, I had a guest on a couple of years ago that was at a football camp, and we were talking about football and the direction of the sport. And Flores told a bunch of coaches like 5 years ago, he goes, with everybody passing all the time and everybody drafting smaller linebackers and everybody speed, there's going to be a team or two in the NFL that figure it out and just play smash mouth. And he goes, you know what? No one's going to be able to tackle them because everybody's built to stop the pass. And we're starting to see that right now. Nobody can tackle. Teams are running the ball a lot more than they used to, Scott. There's less passing right now. Hell, Josh Allen's only throwing the ball 21 times a game on average so far this year. So it's the new thing right now. It's like what's old is new again. And playing smash mouth football actually works. Smash mouth, your Pittsburgh Steelers are a smash mouth football team. They play defense, they win low scoring games. It's the same thing.
Hey, so I want to ask you, I go back to Anthony Carter, Rick Leach. I was conceived in Ann Arbor on a snowy night. My dad drank a bottle of Belvedere, tapped my mom. They had relations. She got pregnant. He was in law school there, left, didn't like it. And went into the steel business and worked at U.S. Steel his whole life and gave up on being a lawyer. But he didn't give up on her. And when I was a kid, they used to take me to Michigan games. So I went to the big house. I was like 5 years old going to Michigan games. I was on the field at Michigan games. I was running around before the game, getting autographs. It was great. But over the years, I've lost my, affinity for them. I don't like them. I'm a Canes fan my whole life. I've been a Canes fan for 50 years. But when I was a little boy, I liked Michigan. I don't like him anymore. When did you start falling in love with Michigan and why?
I started, I was a Bo Schembechler guy as a kid. I became a Michigan fan in like 1977. And, I grew up watching, all sports, but I was watching a Rose Bowl, Scott, and I saw this coach like freaking out on the sidelines and throwing things, and he threw his headset like basically at the ref. Like, you remember what he was like? He's like, "You son of a bitch!" He threw like the headset. Yeah, and he got all tangled up, and he's like, and I was like, man. And then I saw the play, and I was like, he's right. They're getting screwed, right? I was like, man, he's got a right to it. And I think it was Charles White actually went over the top of the end zone. He wasn't really in, remember? And also, listen, growing up on the East Coast, I got Michigan games every Saturday on ABC. Right. So I sort of grew up with that Brian Greasy, Bob Greasy as the analyst and Keith Jackson doing the game. So I got into Michigan as like a 7-year-old, Scott, and there was no turning back. And then a couple of years later, when I was like 13, 14 or something, one of my uncles moved to Ann Arbor. Just by chance. He moved to Ann Arbor, and he has a son and stuff. One of my cousins, good hockey player. He played for Eastern Michigan. Didn't play for the Michigan Wolverines, but they moved there so he could play college hockey. And he played for Eastern Michigan. So then it was just sort of, locked in, right? Like as a kid, I was getting Michigan stuff for Christmas. And so I was already indoctrinated by the time I was like, I was watching when I was 7. By the time I was 12, like, I didn't like, and I never liked another team. There's never been in my life that I said, oh, yeah, I was also a fan. No, never. I'm not going to lie. I did like Herschel Walker. Who didn't?
I think your boy Bo was like Woody Hayes. They were very similar because they were actually friends, but they were rivals, and they both had hot tempers, which I love, just like Bob Knight.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind L.A., that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
So Morency is wearing his Bills jersey. Carver High is rocking the Bills blazer, which he has told me unequivocally today that he has still been wearing it all these years. I've known him like 10 years, and he's been wearing it. And I was like, that's a really good sign that he still fits in it, because I don't fit in any of my suits ever since I had heart surgery. None of them fit. This one doesn't fit.
Yeah, but I look at it like
else. You look good. He looks good.
Have the Bills had good luck in the last 10 years with his blazer? No. Like, I would probably scrap the blazer. Like, there are jerseys. There are jerseys that I don't wear. Like, I've got a few of them, and I just think back. I'm like, no. Like, I remember I was wearing that for that game when they blew like the 13-second game or what.
Superstition.
Yeah. Well, not so much. I'm actually not a very superstitious person, but I do remember things like that. Right. And I sort of think, all right, well, it's not like this has brought us any luck in the last 50 years. So, and in fact, I'm wearing a red jersey today, and a lot of Bills fans don't like it. Right. Some do, whatever. Jerseys are all subjective. But you remember when they did the candy cane game against the Jets? It was like red and green, and colorblind people couldn't tell. Like, you couldn't. It was all the same. It was like a big disaster. The NFL apologized after.
Did it work?
Yeah, no, it was actually, I guess colorblind, it can tell like from the brightness, right? Which team is who. And I guess it looked like they were just neutral, like the way that there was the famous, candy cane game. But my point is, dude, I don't care if the Bills would wear like pink jerseys right now with polka dots on them. Like, we haven't won in 65 years.
I would.
So, no, like, honestly, they want to change something, go ahead and do it. Right? Everybody flips, no, tradition, it's red, it looks like this and that. It's like, shut up. Yeah, because the white and blue. The other thing that gets me all the time, too, Scott, is you hear this. You hear about the Bills a lot in other stadiums, but, it's going to be rocking in that stadium. It's been rocking in that stadium for 50 years. They still haven't won.
They don't win.
like the whole, it's rocking. But speaking of defense and running the ball, Buffalo Bills playing defense and running the ball. You could tell when Joe Brady came in as the offensive coordinator last year that he completely changed from what Dorsey was doing. They put their money where their mouth was. Like, this is the most committed to running the football that the Bills have been, I don't know, in like 10 years, 15 years or something. It's like since the LaShawn McCoy era. Like, they just don't do it. And they actually are now. And they're pretty good at it. And there's a revival right now. Von Miller is balling, guys. I thought he was done. God. He gave us absolutely nothing for 2 years. And now suddenly out of the blue, Von Miller's flying around, making plays on every second play. Former Miami Hurricane Scott Gregory Rousseau, very good player. I like this kid. He was really young when they drafted him. The Bills often draft these like 19 and 20-year-olds. Right. It takes like 4 years for them to get good, and then they leave after. Or, you know what I mean? Like the Edmonds kid. So it was the same thing with Rousseau. He was young. They took him. Now he's starting to really make plays. That defensive line is really good. Hell, even DeMar Hamlin had 10 tackles in the last game. Right? So, like, there's sort of this resurgence. Benford, like these dudes that nobody really know or like didn't think were going to be that good backups for the Bills are playing well in the secondary. Jacksonville are really struggling too. You know, we can look at Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence isn't a superstar quarterback, but he gets paid like one. But they're not protecting him. He doesn't have any time. They can't run the ball. There's a lot of problems on the offensive side of the football, Scott, with the Jags. Yeah, I'll lay the 5. I'll keep it simple tonight. The Bills and Bengals are both winning. A money line parlay is minus 124. There it is. Like, I'm not, you know, we can get cute with this and that, and then I'll have some first touchdown props and all that, Scott. But a Bills-Bengals money line parlay is minus 124. I think they could both cover, although I think Cincinnati cover more than Buffalo. Number one, Jacksonville have given Buffalo problems in the past, okay?
Right.
Number two, Jacksonville are a freaking desperate team, man. Their season's on the line tonight. Yeah, like their season's on the line, so you know they're going to be totally in, all focused, don't make mistakes, play fundamental football. Number three, the Bills play to the point spread, guys. Like week 1 against Arizona, they were 6.5-point favorites. They won by 6. The odds makers have the Bills like pegged pretty well. Like when it comes to their home games here. So I think, you know, the Bills win by 6, they win by 8, they win by 5, but I do think they win this football game.
So how about it yesterday? All the 0-2 teams, a lot of them got their first win.
Yeah.
That's why
even the Panthers.
Interesting tonight. They got a shot. They need to win this game no matter what.
Want to know who to draft and who to avoid in fantasy football? Or want to know who to place NFL season future bets on? Get an insider edge from the former NFL team doctors at Sports Injury Central. The 2024 NFL preseason injury guide is the only in-depth injury report analyzing all 32 teams and over 150 players. So go to sixscore.com to get the most accurate NFL preseason injury report. That's sixscore.com.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
news this early in a show on a Misery Monday. It's unbelievable. The Spew newsroom is alive. The lights are on. Typewriters are moving quickly. What do you got?
Yeah, and in fact they are. And a lot of college football realignment stuff, Scotty, because as we saw last week, the Pac-12 is trying to put themselves back together. Now, there's two pieces to this story. The first part is that Memphis, USF, UTSA, and Tulane, the 4 teams from the American Conference that the Pac-12 was hoping would join all of the new teams that they just put in there, they have declined, Scotty. They put out a big statement about an hour ago saying that they are staying in the American Athletic Conference. They are not joining the Pac-12. They are not going. So, about 20 minutes...
Thank God. Because, you know what? Honestly, I am on the other side of the river. I don't want any of those, to me, those are, frankly, colleges in terms of football that don't matter. Or basketball. They don't matter. Right. Memphis cheats in basketball like no other. They have cheated since I've been in my mother's womb in basketball. They're in trouble now. They need better teams from the West Coast. They don't need a bunch of teams from Graceland and New Orleans playing like, the Big Ten having all these West Coast teams coming to the Big Ten. It's just a pain in the ass. I get it. Lights, camera, action, USC, Michigan. It works. But the travel's a pain in the ass. I don't want Memphis playing San Diego State in basketball and, frankly, in football either. I don't want those schools in that conference. They have to be smarter than having those teams. And obviously they're not, Mike. They wanted them. They wanted those 4 teams.
They wanted them.
And it's garbage.
They wanted them. This was them really saying no to the Pac-12, not the other way around. The Pac-12 wanted those teams in, and they are not going. So about 20 minutes after that, this piece of news got out into the world from Brett McMurphy that Gonzaga is going to leave the West Coast Conference to join the Pac-12. Now, obviously, they are not a football school, so the Pac-12 is still going to have to dig up 2 other schools by 2026 to make it 8 for football. But we have heard, obviously, Scotty, let's be fair, for 30 years, people have been saying, when is Gonzaga going to leave that West Coast Conference and join a bigger conference in basketball with what a power that they are, Mark Few, etc.? Well, it looks like reports are saying that is going to happen, that Pac-12, they will go to the Pac-12, Gonzaga.
Well, what about this? St. Mary's is great in basketball. Why don't they join as well for basketball? And then they got a really good basketball conference again. And then in football, just get it over with. UNLV and Nevada. Be done with it. Now, listen, Nevada, you can say whatever you want, but Tahoe rocks. You know it. I know it. Mommy and I had so much fun in Tahoe. They told us, never come back. We're done with you two mooching off of us. I showed up at the event with 12 hookers at the sports book for the first 4 days of the NCAA basketball tournament. That was my last trip to Reno. But I have all the photos to prove it. It was fantastic. Listen, they're a good basketball school. They're average in football, but they're not the worst. And UNLV's on the up.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I think that what this also means today is that as much the Pac-12 wanted to bring those schools, as you were mentioning, from other parts of the country that maybe weren't the best fit, I think with all of them saying no today, I think they're going to have to pretty much just become the Mountain West with a new name. Like, I think they're going to have to get into the business of UNLV, Nevada, New Mexico. I think that's kind of where they're going to have to go, because I don't.
What about North Dakota State?
Go lower than that.
What about North Dakota State?
Now, I've seen that the Mountain West was going to try to, if they lost more schools, was going to try to pluck them. You're talking about an FCS power. They've won championships at the level below, moving them up. Maybe not the worst idea in the world either, but they're going to have some work to do on the football side.
Listen,
to try to fill more of those chairs.
Honestly, lastly, let's just say this. I'm done with this Mountain West. Now, I know my son goes to the Mountain West. He goes to San Diego State, but they just left for the Pac-12. So let's get real here. No one ever cared about the Mountain West until they started winning in basketball. They've never won in football, anything. So they all started playing really good basketball, including, these New Mexicos at the Pit in Albuquerque, and New Mexico State's been good in Las Cruces, et cetera. I could go on and on. Alfred's got a good team in Tahoe. My point is that it should be the Pac-12. Get rid of the Mountain West and just focus on building the Pac-12 back to a power. The worst thing that ever happened to college sports, Mike, was dismantling the Pac-12. Yes. Name one person that makes sense of that. That is the most ridiculous thing I ever saw, that they broke up like a high school sweethearts. Like, are you kidding me? After all that tradition, the West Coast late night football and basketball games are the greatest thing. Do you remember Bill Walton, Big Red, used to say, it's the Conference of Champions. It is. Look, and how did they win that is beyond me. And I honestly, screw UCLA and USC and go into the Big Ten. And Cal and Stanford belong in the ACC about as much as,
Well, that's where, right. And
the
look,
Pac-12. Come on.
That's the two, like, look, USC and UCLA started all this, obviously, and Oregon and Washington hitched their wagon to them. That caused Cal and Stanford to do what they did. Cal and Stanford are good. They belong in whatever this new Pac-12 is becoming. And look, I just don't think they want these teams, Sky. Like, I don't blame them. Like, San Jose State, Hawaii, Utah State, Wyoming. They don't want these teams. Now, they're going to be forced probably to take UNLV and Nevada.
Why,
they don't want
these
teams.
With San Jose State? They gave Washington State fits the other night in Pullman. That was the best game in college football this year, 54-52. And you're telling me they suck? They're also a program on the up. They don't get quite the athletes that they get in these other, Pac-12 schools. And I think that, frankly, they deserve a shot. I mean, they go out and give everyone a game. They were 3-0, and you want to talk about they suck? Then you know nothing about college football. No team. You know what that is? You just don't know anything about them. So they just write them off. I don't watch Fresno and San Jose State games. I'm in bed by then. I've never watched them in my life. But they're building something, and you have to respect that.
You do have to respect that, indeed. So there you go. Lots of news for you today on the college realignment area of things. All right. Steelers, of course, beat the Chargers 20-10. Let's try to rip through all the NFL games from yesterday. We talked about this play already. Why don't you hear it as well? You didn't get to hear it because you lived it, Scotty. You got to see Calvin Austin come running at you in your end zone. Fields to Austin on CBS yesterday.
Now here they are, teammates. 2nd and 7.
Austin cuts ahead. Austin to the 20. Foot race to the 10. He's across for the touchdown.
I'll tell you what, that brother can run. And I never thought much of him, but they've utilized him as a receiver and a kick returner, a punt returner, kickoffs, and he's got lightning speed. They used to have Ray, and Ray ran around in circles. I used to go to the games and say, this guy, all he does is run around in circles. He never gains any yards. But Austin looks for seams, and he goes for it, like with reckless abandon. I like his role. I told you before I like Patterson's role. Tomlin has put people in jobs that they can handle. And if you don't like it, what we're asking you to do here, then get out.
Precisely, get out. Steelers are 3-0 for the first time since 2020. That was the year you mentioned before with the 11-0, and then things kind of came apart after that during the COVID year for the Steelers. We'll come back and we'll do the Mike Tomlin proud of his team, and then we'll start to get into the other games, including the Ravens and the Cowboys, Vikings just dismantling the Texans yesterday, and several others from the Sunday slate.
How about the Rams all shorthanded down 14 in the fourth, and they still win the game? Oh, yeah.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all season long, people.
What in the world is going on in
Miami, Dom.
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
So, Del Frisco's Grill and Mafia love, Tom's Watch Bar. And there's one in Pittsburgh now, and it's right by the stadium. So I went there, and it was unfortunate because I know a couple of the bartenders made me. They were like, that's that loudmouth Ferrall dude from The Fan and from TVs. That's him right down there.
They probably have SportsGrid on some of the TVs in the afternoon at Tom's Watch Bar where there's not a lot of games on. They probably throw SportsGrid on a bunch of the TVs in there. So
yeah, but
they probably see that as well.
So I showed up there, 5 sheets to the wind. I told you, cottonmouth, hungover, sweating. I go into Tom's, I get a seat, I'm at the bar, and I'm just dying for a hair of the dog. I got to get something in to stop the bleeding. And this chick looked at me like I was a Martian. And, she was just looking at me. She was kind of hot. She was young and hot. I was like, listen, honey, you're smoking hot. Give me a drink. Now, honestly, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes. Now, they got the best bar for sports, 5 million beers. But on a football Sunday in Pittsburgh at that stadium, that place is hell on earth. It's so crowded. You can't even imagine how many people are in those bars. And everybody is smashed. Everybody. The tailgates are a scene. The bars are a scene. It's a cash cow, that stadium, and it's full.
Yeah.
And it's rowdy, and everyone's drunk. So you just keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing to anybody because someone will punch you right in the mouth.
Somebody will, absolutely. That I can only imagine right around that area there, outside the place the Steelers play. And down the block from it, how crazy it gets with all of those places, especially before and after the game. One last thing before I get to Tomlin on the Gonzaga thing, because I should just make this clear. McMurphy said it's happening. Now others are saying that no deal's done yet, Scotty. So, of course, this will be we have a source-off going on the internet right now of who's right and who's wrong. In terms of that. So we'll see what happens with Gonzaga.
So who's the main reporter, McMurphy?
Well, Brett McMurphy says it's happening, and then you have others like John Rothstein who said no deal's done yet. So we have a bit of a source-off in the college basketball world or the college athletic world to see who's going to be right about Gonzaga.
I think they'll go because, I hate to say it, the WCC sucks. It's like, honestly, little sisters of the poor. It really is. And no offense to the Dons and all the schools that are in it, but let's face facts. They don't matter. They never have. They never will. And even St. Mary's, they always are great, and they still don't do anything. It's time for them to play in a big conference if they want to make something of themselves. It's that simple.
Indeed it is. All right, let's finish up this because I always have liked to play Tomlin on Monday. Tomlin very, very proud of the Steelers going to 3-0.
You know, we talked about it all week. We knew we were in for a fight. Styles make fights.
Collectively.
They're assembled like we're assembled, and so we knew it was going to be an entertaining game. They're playing great defense. We're playing great defense. We had to challenge our defense to outperform theirs. I thought they did. We got a commitment to the run game. Obviously, they came in with the league's leading rusher and the number one offense, and our offense had to outrush theirs, and we did. And that's why the game unfolded the way that it did. And so I'm just appreciative of the efforts of the guys. It was a fight, though, man. These guys are obviously well-coached and a talented group. It didn't happen instantly. We had to stay in it. But that's life and definitely life in the NFL.
So when Orange Sherbert went down at the end of the half, they were up 10-7. And then they brought in Ice Cold Heineken. And then, he did nothing. Two passes for 24 yards. And I didn't know, after that, they had the guy Boyle, like a boil on your butt. He didn't do it. Am I wrong? That's who they brought in. All I know is, or was it Easton Stick? I can't keep track of it. I was overheating.
Easton Stick would be the other guy that came in. Of course, Boyle was the guy on the Dolphins yesterday who came in after Skylar
He's the
Thompson.
one that replaced.
He's replaced Skylar Thompson.
Your boy that's the new Dolphin starter, he got hurt.
Yes, correct. So, yes, we had rotating quarterbacks all over the place yesterday. Bottom line is Steelers are 3-0, and they're going to Indy next week to play the 1-2 Colts, looking for 4-0 on the season. Nice win for them. Staying in the AFC North, the Ravens were 0-2 as well, Scotty, going into yesterday. They get their first win, 28-25. Now, the score is a little deceiving. Ravens had a 28-6 lead in this game, Scotty, and they had to hold off a fourth-quarter rally by the Cowboys that came up short. But the story in this game was Derrick Henry, 151 yards on the ground and 2 tutties for the Ravens, getting it done on Fox.
Get into the eye here. Henry's sweet spot right up the joint. Derrick Henry running for the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, Baltimore.
How funny that this guy has this game. $151, 6-yard average, 2 tutties, as long as 29. Racked it up for fantasy teams that have him. And then everyone in the media said he's finished and that he's washed. And then when the game was over, he had his big game. They immediately started talking about his, TB12 type diet. No gluten. He doesn't do any sugar. And all that. And then you have his Allstate commercials where he's flipping, refrigerators over and tires. That guy is not done. He obviously is a horse. You give him the ball, and if you have good blocking schemes up front, he will truck you. He will run over and step on your face. And he did it yesterday. People thought he was finished. If they get him going and Lamar going, you know what's going to happen, right? This team's going to rattle off like 9 or 10 straight wins. They are no joke. I'm worried about them, not the Bengals and the Browns.
Great win. Of course, Lamar Jackson, Ravens really needed that one. We'll slide him in real fast here.
Game for us, man, because we trying to get somewhere. We got to win these games to get to the playoffs, man. Win these playoff games to get to the Super Bowl, but it start with the games that's in front of us. So the 0-2 start, we didn't want that to happen. It's obviously as the football league, everyone's good. We can't look at no opponent and think we can go in there and just roll them over like this high school or something or college. We playing walk-on guys. Everyone's a five-star, I believe, in the NFL. So we just going to games knowing we just got to give it our all because every time a team plays us, we might see something on film, and it might be different when we play them. They're going to play their heart out against us like it's a Super Bowl. So we just got to go out there and do what we're supposed to do.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Mike, why don't you want to hear from Parsons anymore and the Cowboys?
Look, I think, and look, we know how the Cowboys are covered, Scotty. They are covered astronomically more than pretty much any other team in the NFL, right? I mean, we see it all day long. We know the deal. And people get on this guy Dak nonstop. It's always about Dak. It's all about the offense. They're asking Jerry after the game yesterday, why didn't you get Derrick Henry? Why didn't you get? Have you watched the last couple weeks? You think the Dallas offense is the problem here?
No.
They are getting destroyed defensively. I mean, absolutely. These teams are lining up, and they are smashing the ball right through the Cowboy defense, including everyone's All-American, Micah Parsons. I mean, just smashing the ball through them. The Saints smashed the ball through them last week. The Ravens yesterday smashed the ball through the Cowboys. Everybody gets spends all their energy talking about Dak and about their defense sucks, Scotty. It's awful, the Dallas defense.
Is.
That's their problem.
All they have is the old man. The reality is the entire organization is about him. Literally. He does all the talking, all the interviews, all the press conferences, all the deals. He pays Dak $60 million, and he doesn't win playoff games. I get the market value, but I don't think he's worth $60 million. I know everyone else does. Everyone thinks he's the greatest quarterback since sliced bread, and I just don't buy it. He never wins big games, really big games, playoff games, or, December, January games that matter. He wins games that don't matter, and all people care about in Dallas is, frankly, Jerry Jones. He's the whole deal, and they haven't won in 30 years. And you're right, their defense is hairdryer city, and they're not a factor right now in anything. They don't look like they can beat anyone that's really good.
They're playing at the Giants on Thursday night, of course. That's the Thursday night game this week. And the Giants are coming off, and I know the Cowboys have kicked the Giants around the last couple of years, but the Giants are coming off a couple decent performances, right? I don't think that's going to, we saw the Cowboys, they beat them last year, 38-0. The other game, the Cowboys smashed them. I don't think you're getting that on Thursday night with the Cowboys and the Giants. Not the way that D looks.
The key is what can Daniel Jones do to them? because I think, Dak and that offense is going to score. And I want to see the Giants score. I want to see a high-scoring, wild, old-school Giants-Cowboys matchup. I think the Cowboys can beat the Giants, and I agree with you. They've looked better 2 weeks in a row. They had 3 touchdowns last week and lost with no kicker. And then they had 3 touchdowns this week, and they won. And on Friday, whatever, I was on here with you saying, I'm going Giants outright. They're going to win the game in Cleveland, and they're going to get their first win. And a lot of we'll go through all the games, but there were a lot of them that we picked correctly of upsets, and that was one of them.
That certainly was. I'll tell you one team that I'm stunned at after 3 weeks, Scotty, another 3-0 team. How about Minnesota dismantling the Texans yesterday at home, 34-7. Sam Darnold now leads the league in touchdown passes with 8 through the first 3 weeks. Forget this C.J. Stroud and the Texans guys. I think the focus needs to be Minnesota. O'Connell and Darnold, what they've done. Jefferson caught another touchdown yesterday. D's playing well. Big credit to Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, we picked this game right as well, that they would beat Houston, who is everyone's darling. Because they won last year and they did so well and they won a playoff game. So everyone goes with the Grease Lightning. What's good? I'm going with it. They were good. They're going to be good again. And it's not always the case. And no one thought that the Vikings were going to do anything, including me. And I've never thought that he was a great quarterback, but he's been really good. And then we saw the Red Rocket, what he did yesterday. So these two guys that were written off for, dead to rights, they're both starting now and doing very well.
They certainly are. And that's 2 weeks in a row unimpressed with the Texan offense. And I know everyone loves Stroud too, but that's 2 weeks in a row because Sunday night they beat the Bears, but their offense was not great. And then they did nothing against Minnesota yesterday. So the Texans, not impressive at all. All right, we'll come back and we'll get through more of them. Chiefs escape Atlanta last night with a win. Saints and Eagles. Eagles end up getting one. We'll talk about that. And how about the Packers guy, Will Levis? When are they pulling the plug on him this
More the set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League. Said they're 2 games behind L.A., that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Stay